Okay, so this problem goes like this. So I have a string. Okay, I have a string, and let's say that it says we are hiring. Okay, so this is the original string. Now I write this string in a zigzag pattern. Okay, so on, let's say, on the 3 rows. Okay, so what that looks like is we are hiring. Right. So if you read from top left, so WEA is the first column, right? Then, so this, then RE diagonally, right? Then from E, I have HI, right? Then diagonally I have RI. Then I have vertically I have ING. Right. So this is what I mean when I say, this string is written in a zigzag pattern on 3 rows, right? Lines 4, 5, 6, there are 3 rows. Of course, this can be, we can convert this, we can write this in a zigzag pattern on 4 rows, right? Which would look like A, R, R, E, H, I, and G. I think this is right. O, B, R, I. Oh, I missed the R and G. This is right. We are right. Okay. Does it make sense so far?
Well, yeah, as much
okay.
as good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now, after writing this zigzag in a zigzag pattern, we're going to read line by line. So in the first example, when we're writing this on three rows, if you read it line by line, you will get WEI, ER, HR, and AIG. All right. So in the second example, on 4 rows, if you read them line by line, the first line will read WI, then the second one will read EHR, the third one will read AEIG, and the last one will read RN. Right. So the question is, I give you the original string, and I tell you on how many rows am I doing this zigzag pattern, right? And you're supposed to return the final result read line by line. All right. So your function should return. So the input in the first example 1, the input will just be we are hiring, and the num rows will be equal to 3, and this will be your output, right? And in the next one, yeah, the input will be the same. The input string will be the same, but the num rows will be different. Any questions about this one?
So if it's empty string, then of course the
return
output
empty.
Is empty string. If string is shorter than number of rows, then it will just be same string, right?
Yes.
That's what it will look like.
Yeah.
If amount of rows is 1, that's again same string.
Yeah. So you can assume that the number of rows is positive, like it will not be 0.
All right. Is there a Leetcode reference to this?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a look into this example. So yeah, I'm not sure yet how to solve it. So I'm leaning towards just trying to simulate this behavior. Right. So there should be some pattern, and the pattern that I see now is that, for example, this string has 3 rows. That means that first 3 steps we just put character by character into rows 1 by 1. Then next 1 step, which is 3 minus 2. So next amount of rows minus 2 steps, which is decrement, and put those characters into the respective rows. Then we repeat the process. Yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking about template that looks like that. Num rows, we just do something like row plus plus, and row some i's equals and some index, right? Then num rows minus 2 steps. We just do something like that.
Okay.
Right. So yeah.
Yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah. So let me fix it a little bit. Yeah. So I will be counter of a row, right? Yeah. Basically something like that. J will be just the counter that goes up, increments all the time, and goes through all the arcs of S. So yeah, let's scroll through something more complex. Yeah. So here we'll just do 4 steps So it will be row 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 steps backwards, 2, 1, and then again. Okay, so this seems to be working. So yeah, and rinse and repeat until J runs out of our string. And in the end, we'll just take all these rows and we'll just concatenate them into one single string. Yeah, so each row will be basically a string builder. So
yeah,
do this. All right, so that's how it should work in general. There are a couple of things to still to look into, such as check for this index, because at some point here or here we will run out of string s. So we need to protect ourselves against that, and it's rather simple. We can just do simple and like this here. So every time we run out of string here, we just stop, and we just do not start this loop. We stop immediately, right? And then we go to this check, and we're done. We just exit. All right. Let me just do a dry run here. Let's just do interactive debugging. Okay, so when we start, we initialize rows, and num rows is 3 in this case, so we just have 3 rows. So yeah, here just array. Okay, so also this will just work. Yeah, it will just initialize every row to the new string builder. Okay. Yeah, I will not go in details in this loop. This This is not that as interesting as this part. So now, so when we go down, so j is equal to 0. What am I doing? This is right. Okay, so this is j. Now we go through all these rows. So first we are in here. So we append. So we take first item, then we implement counter, and we put this item in here. Then we take this guy and put it into here. Same happens to y. So now we are pointing to p. Now, all right. Now okay, I forgot to update this value. Anyway, it is equal to 3 now. That means that this is false. So we just exit out of this loop. We go into this one. So this is where things get more interesting. So I equals 1. Now we take our character, which is p, and so p. Remove this pointer. You know what? Let me just remove this j. I just forget to date every time. This is our j. So j. 3. Right. Oh wait, no, it will not work like this because this condition says more than, well, I greater than 1, and we are at I greater than 1, so we expect to actually pick up this character, but we did not. So I made a mistake here. It should be actually. You know what? I think you should do like this. It's more clear. Right. So where were we? Okay. So we just picked up P. We moved to A. Now we just do I minus minus, so I is equal to 0. So this is false. So we go to the next iteration. And the next iteration, I equals 0. again. J is pointing to A, so we'll just put A here. All right, so, and then we'll just repeat this pattern. So I think it is looking, yeah, it is looking good. To be honest, I do not want to go through
this
you don't have to.
Yeah,
process.
I think this makes, yeah, this looks good to me too.
I mean, we went through the full cycle first time. Now I'll just, all these boundary checks look good to me. So I'll just, I'll just run it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Good. Yeah, good job in solving this one. Any comments from for Alex? Yeah, looks like
so I was actually, I mean, of course, yeah, this is great. In the time that he was doing this, I was actually working out the mathematics of these indices, and it seems like there is a formula possible, and the formula looks different for odd and even numbers.
okay.
So basically, if the number is odd, like 3, then the middle one is an arithmetic sequence of n-1. So you'll have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 like that. And the ones above and below it are arithmetic sequences of n+1. So in this case, it will be 4. Now, when you look at bigger numbers like 6 or 5, so there is a clear pattern. So in the ones which are neither at the top nor at the bottom nor in the middle, there are 2 arithmetic sequences which are intertwined. Is it like, okay, now, like, I'm sure given more time, I would have worked it out, but I think I would have messed it up because firstly, like in the full time that Alex took to solve the problem, I was still playing with the numbers and working out the arithmetic. Which could be disaster in an interview situation. Is it like on this?
Yeah. So you're asking, like, doing a real interview, like, should you continue thinking about the mathematics, or should you just like
exactly
go? Okay, so my recommendation is, now, even if you are able to work through the mathematics, right? Like, but how would that improve our solution? Like, still, I mean, currently we are, the simulation solution is already, we're just scanning the string once, and we are using O of n, we're using linear time, which you cannot avoid, right? I mean, no matter what, you have to read the string at least once, right, to generate the zigzag string. So
the space would be better because you wouldn't make string builders, right?
Yeah, for all practical purposes, yes, space would be better. You just allocate the resulting character array once, and you just fill it out. You just pick characters from the input and put it into the output. That's it. Still big O of n.
Still exactly, because you're just you're changing number of rows of string builders into just one string builder, but I mean still it's O of n space. So I wouldn't.
O of n. I can take my entire code, right? I can do some of this, and it still will be O of n. I mean, you get my point. So from
you can instead of initiating number of rows, number of string builders, you can just put the characters in the right place.
So from big O of n perspective, both solutions are the same, but in a real job, right? Double quotes, no double quotes. The solution.
I mean, this is not a real problem. That's
true. We're not exactly in the real world right now. We are just we're just doing whatever this is.
I think the question is that if you do you get any brownie points for solving the puzzle? Because I think there's a certain amount of ingenuity in discovering the
So so the most important thing is solving it, right? So now if you are first able to solve it one way, using simulation or use math, that's good, right? The main thing is you want to, like, so if you're super confident that you're able to write a working solution, like write a non-mathematical solution very, very quickly, then fine. Like, you can definitely feel free to spend 20 minutes on trying to figure out a mathematical way, right? Now, I would not do that, right? I would first try to solve it using in this case simulation, but like any working solution, right? I would first try to solve it. Right then, when we have extra time, I would, maybe we have extra 20 extra minutes, then we can think, okay, maybe there's a way to solve it mathematically, right? And also, when I'm mentioning, when I'm sort of proposing that we can solve it mathematically, I'm also observing the interviewer very carefully, right? I want to see their reaction, right? If they're very enthusiastic, then maybe there is a mathematical solution, right? Now, if they're like, if they're not very enthusiastic, then you know that either they don't care that you can solve it mathematically, or they know that they are not aware of a mathematical way, like either way is a discouragement, right? So, I would, in that case, I would, of course, I would not just stop just because, they didn't show any enthusiasm, right? So I would try briefly, but, then I would just mention, okay, maybe we can solve it, but, it will probably take some time. And then, then they will usually move on, right? Because just because you're able to solve a problem in, this problem doesn't look very difficult, right? If you're able to solve this one in 20 minutes, then it's very likely that the interviewer actually has one more problem in mind, right? Now, you'd rather, solve both problems, give them working solution, correct solution, than, just spending a lot of time on one, the first problem they give you, right? Because they will never tell you how many problems they intend to ask you, right? So you'd rather be, try to basically solve the problem ASAP and just move on, right? If they don't have any extra problem, you can easily tell that, right? If they don't actually have a problem in mind, then then they will usually say, oh, yeah, it looks like we have some extra time. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, at that point, if you if you have way too much extra time, then you can say, okay, actually, in the last problem, maybe we can solve it mathematically. Do you want us to think about that, or you know that there's no way we can solve it mathematically, right? And see what they say.
Okay.
Yeah, but remember the most important thing is, get to a working, like a optimal working solution. I don't know, maybe the mathematical solution is even more optimal, but I think like it, the solution that we currently have is at least very, very close to being optimal.
Yeah.
Right. So I would stop there and see, what the interviewers plan, right? If they have extra problems for me. If they don't, then sure, we can think longer about the mathematical way. But still, I would try to get a working solution first before either way, right? Even though I'm confident that I can write a working solution in 10 minutes, still I would just do that, right? Then only then would I think about fancier solutions.